Good morning, SEC TV meteorologist Andrew Wulfeck here with your latest winter storm update. So let's go right to the weather graphics to see what's going on out there. There you go. There is the radar coverage, and it doesn't look impressive right now, but keep in mind we still have, I don't know, another 10, 12 hours of this snowstorm, so it will gradually fill in, and the storm system's only beginning to strengthen, so any snowfall out there right now will continue to increase in coverage and intensity. And we'll zoom on into South Carolina so you can get a better idea where the snow is falling. It's heavy in Greenville, heavy in Charlotte. Columbia has been off and on in terms of the heaviness. Still quiet along the coast. It's going to remain that way. We have this dry slot of dry air down towards the southwestern portion of the state over the low country. So that will continue to be in place for the low country for the next couple of hours, and then everything will gradually change as the precipitation works from west to east across the state. So let's go right over to Futurecast to show you what is going on and what it expects to happen this afternoon. There you go, 11 o'clock later on today. Snow across the I-20 corridor, I-95, maybe occasionally spits of frozen precipitation east of I-95. That's indicated by the purples and the pinks that you see there. But overall, that won't be a big deal. The bigger deal will be the snowfall accumulations. We'll go ahead and we'll fast forward this timestamp for you and try to get a better sense of what's happening later on this afternoon. I say around 4:30 is when nearly the entire state will be seeing snow. That's from Greenville all the way to the coast. And even heavy snow towards Myrtle Beach and Charleston. Then we will gradually continue our timestamp, and notice we start to get some clearing this evening for Greenville, and it'll work from west to east across the state. By 2:30 in the morning, most of the I-20 corridor west of Columbia clear. However, look at Myrtle Beach, and we'll talk about Myrtle Beach more during this online weathercast. They are still in the snow, and they'll be in the snow for several hours, 5:30, 6. Now, gradually by sunrise, they get out of the snow and it pushes offshore. But the Florence area and Myrtle Beach are going to be the two places to watch for this particular storm. And if you remember yesterday, we showed you these snowfall totals. They were a little bit more impressive as you went towards Rock Hill and Greenville. They have come down in those areas, but they have gone up in the Florence and the Myrtle Beach areas. So that is the area of greatest concentration. Now, I know the model says 12 to 18 in Florence. That is a maximum. You want to be careful with these winter storms because, as I showed you on Futurecast, the snowfall is coming down in bands. So one neighborhood might see 4 to 8 inches. The next neighborhood might see 10 inches. That 12 to 18, that is a little bit gung-ho, I'm afraid, on the forecast model. So if you're in Florence, I wouldn't expect to get that much. However, it's just highlighting that this area will see the most out of the entire state. And as you head northward on I-95, by the way, Raleigh, Durham, the Wake Forest area, they will also be hit heavy with this winter storm. By the way, look down towards the low country. We are getting less and less. Yesterday it was between 2 and 4 in some areas. Now it's just showing a trace or just a ground covering as you head down towards Hilton Head, south of Charleston, east of I-95, and south of I-26. By the way, I-26 is going to be your good divider with this storm system. If you're north of I-26, that's where the heaviest snow will fall, and south of the highway, that's where light to occasionally moderate amounts of snowfall will happen. So as we take a look, I also want to look at temperatures because that's the second big story of this storm system. And these are overnight lows from tonight into tomorrow morning. Single digits in Rock Hill, near that in Columbia. If these numbers do indeed pan out, lots of cities will set record lows. We haven't seen many record lows this winter season at all. We've seen a bunch of record highs. If you recall, around the Christmas holiday time frame, we were in the 80s. We saw an 83-degree reading a couple of weeks ago in South Carolina. So we are long overdue for some record lows, and that's exactly what we will see. And that's even half the story because you add the winds, which in some cases 10, 20, 30 miles an hour behind the storm system, and it'll be like zero in most locations. In fact, kind of ironic that Greenville, when you factor in the wind, will feel the warmest out of the entire state. Usually Greenville is the coolest, right? Because they're at the higher elevations, the higher terrain of the upstate, but not according to this forecast model. So that is the story across South Carolina. I do want to show you this satellite and radar combination. It's showing the storm nicely winding up off the coast. It's going to get all of that warm energy off the Gulf Stream, become what we call a bomb cyclone. That's when its pressure drops 24 millibars in 24 hours. It will be the strength of likely a Category 1 or Category 2 hurricane while it's off the coast. Now, fortunately, since we're on the western side of the strengthening storm system, we will see the least amount of action, and that's good because if we were in the center of the storm, we'd be even seeing higher snowfall totals. So it's a good thing that this thing is bombing out off the coast. However, it won't be a pleasant day by any stretch of the imagination across the mid-Atlantic into southern portions of the Northeast. Do have some good news that most of the wet weather in the Northeast is going to be exclusively east of I-95 from Washington, D.C. to New York to Boston. In fact, the only heavy accumulations that we're expecting from this snow system, from this snowstorm, is around the Boston, southeastern New England area. Otherwise, it's just the mid-Atlantic that is going to be in store. And actually, I do have a map that is going to show accumulations across the nation from this storm system and over the next couple of days. We'll put this into motion. There you go. You see how South Carolina and North Carolina are the targets of this winter storm. Just some light precipitation in Boston, maybe in New Jersey, Delaware, the Delmarva Peninsula. But somehow, some way, the Carolinas are lucking out with this storm if you want a winter wonderland. Now, if you don't want a winter wonderland, you're going to have to wait a while because the way overnight lows are looking through this week, the snow is going to stick around probably until at least midweek. So that is the latest there. Rob, do we have any questions coming in?
We have a comment or two. Thank you, Hunter on Facebook. And I remind you, we're on the SCE TV Facebook page. We're also on the SCE TV News YouTube page. And we also have that continuous live weather loop for you on the SCE TV News YouTube as well. So you can go in and check on this storm throughout the day today and tomorrow. It's going to be up all weekend. I want to say, Hunter, thank you for commenting. He did comment that it's snowing here in Columbia and starting to stick quickly, which is interesting because earlier we had someone comment that this morning there was no snow in Columbia, so it looks like it's just starting to come down there, and yes, it will most likely stick pretty quickly.
Interesting. And it's just starting, as you said. Now, I do have a camera shot that I'm going to try to get up here from South Carolina. Let's see if I can work magic and move this over. And there we go. So this is from just south of the North Carolina, South Carolina border. I don't know. I can't tell. It looks kind of frozen to me, the shot. But at least you can get a good sense of what's going on up there. Not snow covered. You can tell that they've actually done some work to that roadway. We'll take a little tour around the state, if you will. That was from up here. We'll go along I-85 now west of Greenville. This is just south of Clemson, by the way. Now, as you can tell, not too much snowfall there. Roads are in pretty good shape. You do see the heavy snowflakes starting to fall there if the resolution's great on your monitor. But it's just starting, as I keep saying. And there's still traffic out there. You know, it's moving. It's advised that you stay home today. And likely tomorrow as well. Tomorrow will be a good day if you can brave the cold to get out and shovel the snow. By the way, we're expecting a light powdery snow, not a wet snow. So that's going to be easier in the back, easier to lift, instead of the wet snow, which is, of course, heavier. But it's actually better to make a snowman out of when you get that wet stuff. Here is, this is closer towards downtown Greenville. It's really coming down out there. It looks like a winter wonderland.
Definitely. You can see the flakes pretty clearly.
Yeah.
Hunter had a follow-up. He asked when the heaviest snow for Columbia would be, and what would be the coldest that it's going to get predicted in Colombia?
Those are some great questions. So let's go back to our weather maps, and we will figure out exactly what is going to happen in Colombia. So there we go. So this may be overdoing it a bit on the Futurecast, but generally speaking, it'll become heavy early this afternoon around the noon hour. The darker blues that you see on your screen indicate that heavy snow, and we'll put this into motion for you. And then there you go. Colombia really continues right through tomorrow morning.
That shot right there gives you a really
Right.
good sense of the power of the storm.
Yes. Actually, that's a good. Yeah, I'll actually go ahead and play that and zoom out for you. So it organizes right here over the Atlantic, as I was talking about. It'll bomb out, become the strength of a Category 2 hurricane. It will look like a hurricane on satellite imagery, by the way. But once again, we're not getting hurricane conditions. Those will be offshore. And there's actually marine warnings and marine alerts that the National Weather Service office has issued for offshore that indicates winds 60, 70, 80, 90 miles an hour. So if you know anyone who's in a boat or a vessel, obviously it's just a good day to stay in port because it will be powerful. And I'm also concerned that there may be some erosion on some of the beaches, especially the northeast facing beaches, when you have such a powerful storm over the Atlantic. But anyway, so that was Futurecast showing exactly how heavy the snowfall will be. And we'll take a look at the snowfall totals for Colombia. Still saying 4 to 8, the forecast model is. So that looks like a pretty good bet. I would say it's most likely to be on that lower end of the scale versus that high end of the scale, simply because there's some dry air mixing in on the western side of the storm system, which is common, by the way, on the western side of storm systems. You usually have some dry air off the continent that works its way in. So I would say likely in Colombia 4 to 5, and then isolated communities in that 6, 7, or 8 realm.
So Jennifer has asked on Facebook, good question, Jennifer. Everyone is wondering about Monday.
Yes.
Is it going to melt, or will Monday be a tough travel day?
Monday will be a tough travel day. That's because we won't have had time for this snowfall to melt by that point. Because remember, we're talking about temperatures overnight tonight around 0 in terms of wind chill. The actual air temperature will be a little bit warmer, 9 degrees Rock Hill, 9 degrees in Greenville. So Sunday, we don't get much melting. Now, on Monday, temperatures in the afternoon do get above freezing. It'll be sunny, which will help the melting, but it will still be around through at least Tuesday, Wednesday timeframe. And obviously during the overnight hours and during the morning hours, when we get below freezing again, we'll have to do with the refreeze, the black ice on the roadways, the slippery conditions. So I do expect some delays and cancellations, even on Monday, across the state as we basically dig out from this winter storm.
Amanda has a related question. How do you think travel will be from the Low Country to Charleston tonight?
Low Country to Charleston. That is an interesting one. I do have a road graphic that I can bring up here, which shows it's all clear now. So let me explain this graphic a little bit for you. So where you see the green, that is where it's wet on the roadways. Likely we saw some liquid precipitation during the first rounds of this storm system. And then where you see the pink, that's some icy conditions that usually happens secondarily. And then once the ground gets cold enough, you get to the blue category, which is the snowfall, and you get to the dark blue, I want to say purplish category. That's the heavy snowfall. So we're starting to see by the way, some heavy snowfall accumulations on roadways, according to this forecast model, in the upstate. So all is clear, all is quiet across the Low Country and Charleston. So if you have plans during the next several hours, I would keep them in the Low Country. You just want to be mindful because there are dozens of DOT crews out there pre-treating roadways, so you want to keep your distance between those chemical trucks and the ice scrapers, the snow removal trucks. and you'll be good to go for the next several hours. Now, I do anticipate most of the state, when we are done with the snowstorm, will be in that light blue category. That just indicates there is snow, but it's still drivable. And then I think once you get along I-26 northward, there will be several patches in that dark blue territory, and that will be simply just too hazardous to drive in.
And yes, and we would encourage everyone to continue to hang with us on our social media channels today, because we will have another live update at noon today and then later in the afternoon. So conditions could change, and especially if you're trying to gauge, a travel tonight, please do stay close to the latest coverage.
Right. Yeah, we will continue to keep you updated ahead of the storm. And I do want to bring up some videos that I'm actually getting in, if I can work my machine here. And we will go to, this is going to be from North Carolina. This was during the overnight hours. Just to give you a sense, this is from Taylorsville, North Carolina. That's going to be between your Charlotte and your Asheville regions. And I'm going to play this. And man, it looks like a winter wonderland out there. You would never guess that this is in the southeast, but this is what North Carolina saw overnight, and it's what parts of South Carolina will get overnight, or will get today, excuse me. And I do have another video to pop up here, and this is going to be from actually South Carolina this time, because we are starting to get some user-generated content from South Carolina. This is going to be from Beaufort Fire and Rescue, and we'll go ahead and pop that up, and you'll see the snowflakes start to fly there in Beaufort, which I believe is right outside of the Columbia area. So that is interesting as well. Now, I want to bring up this map. I've told you before, and you've probably remember me talking about how one neighborhood will get in on the snow action, and then the next neighborhood won't see anything. And this is, I guess if you will, evidence of that. So these are snowfall reports that the National Weather Service has received. And if we look in North Carolina, we are already at 9 inches just east of the Great Smoky Mountains, while nearby there's only 2.5, 3.5 inches. So your snowfall accumulations will vary tremendously across just a particular area, and even just across a particular town. And we will start to see, by the way, these start to fill in. The heaviest snowfall accumulation so far in South Carolina, this is really interesting. There's actually a 2-inch one right outside of Greenville. And we are starting to see some accumulations outside of Rock Hill, York, South Carolina, at 1.5 so far. And remember, this is just the beginning. And that was, as of about 5 minutes ago, York, South Carolina had received 1.5 inches of snowfall. So as we continue to head deeper and deeper into the storm system, we will continue to see those snowfall tallies continue to pile up. Are we getting any reports of snowfall out there right now on the Facebook Live?
Just again in Columbia, and we do have this morning, now this has been a while, but Josh woke up to flurries in South Spartanburg first thing this morning. So again, that could come and go until we get like the majority of this stuff moving in.
And here's a look at I-77, and this is just outside of Charlotte in South Carolina, and boy, oh boy, it is really coming down. Obviously, the roadway is a little bit warm, so you still can drive on it. It's not advised. And the assault trucks have been out there. Haven't seen anyone in the last couple of minutes pass by, but they're doing their best out there. They have hundreds of crews working across the state trying to clear all this mess and trying to prevent it from sticking. But it's going to be a tall task because the entire state is going to see snowfall, and that is in itself a rarity. Now, I don't think that we'll break any records in Greenville, Columbia, or Charleston. I will keep my eye on Myrtle Beach because I keep saying that that's the question mark during this storm system. there is some wraparound moisture that if it gets stuck and if it trains over the same area, the Florence Myrtle Beach area could end up being the heaviest target zone during this storm. But this is another one of the heavier spots right outside of Charlotte in the Rock Hill area.
And I remember we looked at this very camera about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, and it was snowing a little bit, but it didn't look like this. This is coming down quite a bit.
And you can tell it's flickering, and the snowfall is starting to cover the lens, and oh boy, it's definitely going to be a mess up there. So stay off the roadways if you can. There are several crashes, by the way, reported in the Spartanburg area and areas closer towards the North Carolina border. And this is just beginning. Keep in mind, we have a good 6 to 12 hours of this, depending on your exact location. So it will continue.
Indeed.
All right.
A reminder again that we are throughout the day going to be bringing you these live events on the SCE TV Facebook, the SCE TV News YouTube, and we have that continuous constant loop of the latest weather information running all weekend so you can follow the storm.
Very good. And I do want to have this for you, by the way. If you go out and to measure, soda can is about 4.75 inches tall. So that's one measurement you could use if you don't have a ruler handy. A dollar bill is 6.14 inches tall. Piece of paper, 8.5 by 11, so you can turn it whatever way to get your measurement. So let us know how much snow you are getting, and we will certainly share those with you as we weather this storm together. And that will do it for this live event on the social media platforms. We'll be back closer to noon with another update. Until then, you can watch a live stream of the weather maps, the satellite maps, every model available at the SCETV YouTube News YouTube page.